Hello, welcome to my video tutorial on completing two-way tables. This is something that is used in statistics when dealing with two categorical variables. And a quick refresher of what a categorical variable is, essentially, is any question that elicits a response that's yes or no, or received cold medicine, did not receive cold medicine. Those are two examples of a categorical variable. So let's take a look at our situation. It says that researchers are interested in testing whether or not cold medicine actually lessens the number of days an individual has a cold. There was a total of 60 participants, 30 of which received cold medicine, and 14 who received cold medicine with a cold lasting less than 7 days. Out of the total participants, 26 had a cold that lasted less than 7 days. Complete the two-way table below. So I do encourage you, as in all my videos, to pause this and see if you can fill in this two-way table by yourself. Now you'll see that they don't give you the information that should go in each cell of this table, but they do give you enough information to figure it out. So go ahead and see if you can do that. And if you can't, just follow along and there'll be another opportunity in the video to pause it and complete it on your own. So the first thing I look at, and I think that everyone should look at when they're looking at a two-way table, and I'm right up here, is the total number of participants in the study. That's kind of a big thing we need to know when we're filling in the rest of the table. So it tells us that there are a total of 60 participants, and that's going to go right down here under the total column and the total row. So as we fill in the information, we're going to see what these rows and columns should equal to based on the information we started with, and you'll see how that helps us fill in the rest of the information. So next it tells us 30 of which received cold medicine. Okay, so out of the total of 60, they're saying 30 received cold medicine. We have to be really careful how we read this. We have to take it in very literally. We can't read between the lines of what they're trying to say. That's not really how statisticians write their responses. So it's saying 30 received cold medicine. So that will go under this column. But it doesn't tell us anything about how long their cold lasted. So all we know is that the total is 30. All right, now we could fill in this cell right here, but what I like to do is kind of just get all the information that they give us on the table first so that we don't miss any information. So let's continue on to the next. It says, and 14 who received cold medicine with a cold lasting less than 7 days. Okay, so now we know that they received cold medicine, and it also tells us that their colds lasted less than 7 days. So that's where it meets this cell. That's where that 14 goes. Cold lasted less than 7 days, and they received cold medicine. All right, now we have one more piece of information. It says, out of the total participants, 26 had a cold that lasted less than 7 days. All right, so very similar to the 30 in the beginning. They're telling us that the cold lasted less than 7 days, but they're not giving us any information as to whether they received cold medicine or not. So that is one of our totals, 26. All right. Now, I would go ahead and fill this in first if we know that there's a 60 in the total participants of the study and 30 received cold medicine. Using subtraction, we can see that 30 must have not received cold medicine. And statisticians will try and do this as best as they can to have, if they have two groups like this, to try and have an even amount of participants in each group as they can. But of course, we can't always control for things like that. All right, so this is the next part of the video where I would encourage you to pause it if you have not already, because now we have some of the information on the board, and it might start to become clearer how we would fill in the rest of the table. And if not, again, that's okay. We can rewatch this video for more practice. All right, so here you can kind of start wherever you want for the most part. I'm just going to start right here. We know that we have a total of 30 who received cold medicine, and we were also told that of those 30, 14 had a cold that lasted less than 7 days. So what has to be in this cell is 16, because again, this total column needs to equal 30. All right, next I'm going to just go up here. We know that there's a total of 26 participants whose cold lasted less than 7 days, and we were also told that 14 of those received cold medicine. So, to equal the total of 26 that we were told had a cold that lasted less than 7 days, 12 of them must have not received cold medicine. Now you can kind of do either of these again, but I'm going to choose to do this one. So we know that there's a total of 30 who did not receive cold medicine, and we just figured out that 12 of those must have had a cold that lasted less than 7 days. So in order to equal the 30, 18 of those who did not receive cold medicine must have had a cold that lasted more than 7 days. Now we can either subtract 26 from 60, the total number of participants, or we can add 16 and 18 to figure out the number of participants who had a cold that lasted more than 7 days. And either way you do it, there will be 34 participants. So that is the way you complete a two-way table, and then once you have this information, you can make inferences about whether or not cold medicine actually affects how long you have a cold, which we can do in another video. Thanks.